Hey there, Live the Trek family. Today we're in Needles, California. It's so pretty, as you can see behind me. And we have a fun project that you could do, maybe with your kids if they're old enough, but it is a bike stand. As you can see behind me, the boys' bikes kind of get thrown on the ground after they ride them, and it just makes our whole area look disorganized and kind of messy. And when we're traveling on moving day, it's always a struggle because the bikes are cumbersome and they move around a lot. They're not anchored down and they just go in here or under the table and move around. So this will hopefully solve that problem. So
I have all the supplies and the PVC that we're going to use to build this bike stand, and it's great regardless if you're on the road like we are in an RV, but you could do it, you know, in your garage so that your kids kind of have an area to stand up the bikes so they're not all falling all over the place, or maybe in your apartment. And you can do this for our kids' bikes all the way up to full-size adults. It just depends on the measurements of the wheel. So we're going to start out with the three things that you need. You need a good tape measure, you need a good Sharpie, and you need some form of saw. In this case, I have a small plumbing hack saw that can cut through PVC pipe. So I'm going to annotate below in the description box all of the supplies you're going to need to build one stand. Are 8 T-joints of whatever size PVC. In this case, we're doing 3/4 inch. 2 90-degree pieces. Then we're going to cut 2 20-inch sticks because I want to fit up to a 20-inch tire. Just make sure to measure out whatever tire size you're going to fit in here so you make sure you have plenty of clearance. 20 inches right there and 40 inches right there. Here are our vertical stand pieces, again, that I did 20 inches. And then I put my 90s on there, so we're gonna put a little centerpiece, and this is where the wheel will go through. 2 8 1/4 inch sticks, 2 11 1/4 inch sticks. Go down so they can see all of them. 10 3 1/4 inch sticks. All right, so that was a little bit of work there. So if you followed this exact same diagram and you went up to a 26-inch wheel, you would be able to use it on one stick of 10-foot PVC. If you are doing it for something that's like a 27 or a 29er, then you may have to buy a second piece of PVC or buy some of those little like short sticks just to add on a little bit to make sure that you have enough to complete this project. And this project is pretty easy on the pocketbook as well. I paid about $18 for all the supplies of 3/4 inch PVC and all of the joints for one stand. So, you know, 1 inch might be a little bit more expensive, but you know, I'd say between 18 and 25 bucks on average per stand is what you can expect to pay to build something like this. And the benefit for the kids is if they're old enough, you can use this opportunity to not only give them a cool project like, hey, you built the bike stand and it's gonna, you know, you have a place to park your bike, you can hang their name, you know, maybe do a little nameplate in your garage or something like that for them if you have multiple kids and they have a little spot or whatever. But it also, you know, gives them the ability to maybe use a tape measure, use the Sharpie. If you feel like they're competent enough with the saw, use the saw, you know, and begin to do some of these projects, and they can begin to feel like they have the ability to make things versus just going to the store and buying something, or, you know, clicking a button on Amazon and it shows up 3 days later. There is a big value and a sense of accomplishment in creating something that you did yourself, and we're going to basically fit them all together at this point. All right, so there we go. It's fully completed. Obviously, we can break it down if we ever needed to pack it and store it away for a while if it got in the way. Now, to assemble it, what you're gonna need to do is basically all of your 3 1/4 inch portions are all of the cross section. So back here, all the way through, right here is your 3 1/4, 3 1/4, 3 1/4, and 3 1/4 up here. So that's going to give you that 3 1/4 inch dimension right there to seat the tire. Now you can measure it, maybe go a little bit narrower if you want, maybe do 3 inches or 2 inches, you know, depending on how wide. If it was like a road bike, you know, you could go a little bit narrow. If you're doing a big fatty, you know, tire, you would need to go wider. So just measure the dimensions. This seemed to be a pretty good fit for Peter's bike. Maybe I could have gotten a little bit smaller, maybe like 3, maybe 2.75 on the width. And then you have your 11 1/4 right here on this portion. And obviously you're just connecting the T's right there, just to give you, and there's your 90 again. And then up here is whatever you have left over. So depending on if you're going with a higher portion here, you know, or shorter, that will determine somewhat how long these can go. I had 8 1/2, or sorry, 8 1/4 left over to give it that side to side stability. Now, when I attach the second one, I will put a smaller piece on one side and leave that 8 1/2 inch stick for stability out on the very far end, so that I can bring the two bikes closer to each other. Now, something to consider is you can run as many of these in daisy chain as you want. Now, I got 2 collars here that I'm going to attach, and I'm going to build a second one for Jude's bike so that they can go right next to each other. You could flip them so that they offset each other. You know, one comes in this way, the other one comes in the other way. There's all kinds of different stuff you can do with this setup, but that's kind of the main idea. Let's give it a shot, see how it works over here. So guys, there you have it. I really do believe creating and building something versus just always buying it. You know, we are such a consumer-based society, and we have the DNA of the creator himself in each one of us. I think there's something very special and important about creating things and building things from time to time. So I hope that this video has just been fun and entertaining and informative, helping you guys get an idea and, you know, create something for yourself or for a loved one, your kids, whatever it may be. And feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions. If there's a detail maybe that I missed to help you build this setup, feel free to leave a comment. We'll do our best to answer it for you.
And thank you so much for watching. I hope this was an adventure just building something, and we invite you to share, like, comment this video, and subscribe if you haven't yet, and get out there and live the trek.